Hello and welcome to Exposed News Outlet, where we shed light on topics that matter most. I'm your host, Andrea. Today, we're exploring trigger-happy fascist Gestapo strike again, this time in Portland, the day after Renee Good's murder. As we navigate the complexities of our world, it's essential to stay informed and engaged. By subscribing to our channel, enabling notifications, and sharing our content, you're supporting our mission to provide thought-provoking insights and inspire positive change. Thank you for being part of our community. Now let's get to the news. Let me be very clear from the start. This is not about public safety. This is not about law and order. And this is absolutely not what the American people voted for. In the span of days, multiple people have been shot by ICE and federal agents. Some of them died in the hospital. And now, again, it's happened in Portland, Oregon, just one day after Renee Nicole Good was shot and killed in Minnesota in what appears to be a blatant, unnecessary, and avoidable killing. I would even say a murder. This is not a coincidence. This is not isolated. This is systemic, intentional, and escalating. In fact, there's already been over 32 deaths from ICE in this 1 year alone, which is the highest it's been, I think, in recorded history, if not. I know for a fact it's the highest it's been in decades. So, in Portland, 2 people were shot by federal agents, not local police. Portland police did not fire a single shot. Local officials were cut out of the operation. Federal agents, many masked, some with no visible identification, opened fire in a residential neighborhood. And let me remind you of something very important. Masked agents with guns operating without local oversight have no accountability. They are secrecy, they are intimidation, they are trauma. Local and state officials in Oregon have already said this undermines public safety and community trust. The governor has condemned it. The Attorney General has opened a state investigation. The mayor of Portland has demanded federal operations be halted. And yet, DHS and ICE continue to push narratives that do not match what residents witnessed. Watch this clip.
News. That breaking news, DHS has released the names of the 2 people shot by a U.S. Customs and Border Protection agent in Southeast Portland. Good morning. It is 7:23. I'm Noelle Ford. The driver of the vehicle has been identified as Luis David Nico Mancato and the passenger as Yorlani Betsabeth Zambrano Contreras. DHS says both are in the U.S. illegally and are suspected members of a Venezuelan gang. The shooting happened on Southeast Main Street outside of Adventist Health yesterday afternoon. DHS says the driver tried to run over the agents and an agent fired in self-defense. Both were taken to the hospital, and K2 is still working to learn their condition this morning.
This is breaking news. That breaking news, 2 people are in the hospital after Portland police say a U.S. Customs and Border Protection agent shot them in Southeast Portland. This is a live look at the ICE facility on Portland's south waterfront, where tensions escalated overnight and protests are likely to pick back up again later this morning. Portland police say they've made several arrests there already. Good morning. It is just about 6 o'clock on this Friday morning, January 9th. Thanks for joining us for K2 News this morning. I'm Angelica Thornton. K2 is on your side with live team coverage, working this story from multiple angles this morning. K2's Joe English is live where that shooting happened with where the investigation stands right now. K2's Daryl Burke is live at the ICE facility following the protests there. K2's Wesley Ogle is tracking reaction from the live desk.
Just one day after the horrific violence in Minnesota, our community here in Portland was witness to a moment of fear, confusion, and heartbreak. Portland is not a training ground for militarized agents. That is why we are calling on ICE to halt all operations in Portland until a full and independent investigation can take place.
Politicians and protesters across Oregon are condemning federal immigration enforcement in Portland after a Border Patrol agent shot 2 people in the Hazelwood neighborhood. City leaders say the shooting has raised serious questions about federal operations in Portland. According to police, the shooting happened on Southeast Main Street just outside Adventist Health, but the victims were found about 2.5 miles away at Northeast 146th and Burnside. This morning, we're hearing new audio from dispatch just after the shooting happened. Take a listen.
Stage at your discretion, police are en route. It looks like caller saying that he was shot twice by ICE and his wife was shot as well. Your top group is going to be Ops 1, Engine 7 with Medic 314 and Medic 321 with police en route. This will be a shooting at the Brea Apartments, 10 Northeast 146th Avenue. We have a male who was shot twice in the arm and his wife who was shot in the chest. Your top group is going to be Ops 1. Stand by for additional dispatch.
Now, you heard the dispatcher say ICE, but it was a Border Patrol agent who pulled the trigger. Medics then took the people shot to the hospital. We are still working to get an update on their condition this morning. The Department of Homeland Security is providing its account of what happened yesterday. They said U.S. Border Patrol agents conducted a targeted stop at 2:19 p.m. They said, quote, "The passenger of the vehicle is a Venezuelan illegal alien affiliated with the transnational Tren de Aragua prostitution ring and involved in a recent shooting in Portland. The driver is believed to be a member of the vicious Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. When agents identified themselves to the vehicle occupants, the driver weaponized his vehicle and attempted to run over the agents." DHS says an agent fired a defensive shot out of fear for his life. They say the driver then drove off with the passenger. The FBI is investigating the shooting, but not sharing much information. K2's Joe English is live this morning in Southeast Portland, where the shooting happened. Joe, I know the feds aren't saying much here, right? But we are hearing from local and state leaders, and it sounds like that they're frustrated by what they're not getting from federal agents.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what they tell us. They were quick to respond on Thursday in saying there will be a thorough investigation by the state. Oregon Attorney General Dan Rayfield says the Oregon Department of Justice will be taking that on. So we can expect to hear more from the AG and about an investigation that might happen from here by the state. In a statement, Rayfield said the cases may also be referred to the Multnomah County District Attorney for possible prosecution, depending on what they find. Now, in that statement, Rayfield said, quote, "We have been clear about our concerns with excessive use of force by federal agents in Portland and nationally. We've also been clear about our intent to investigate circumstances involving federal agents to ensure they are accountable." Now, yesterday, Portland Mayor Keith Wilson backed that up.
We know what the federal government says happened here. There was a time when we could take them at their word. That time is long past.
That's right.
That is why we are calling on ICE to halt all operations in Portland until a full and independent investigation can take place. Our community deserves answers. Our community deserves accountability. And most of all, our community deserves peace.
Now, Oregon Governor Tina Kotek said that, quote, "One thing is very clear. When a president endorses tearing families apart and attempts to govern through fear, trust is essential to maintaining safety." Portland Police Chief Bob Day said that PPB is in regular contact with the FBI, who's doing the investigation, and PPB is offering assistance. Day said, "We do not know the facts of this case. We are simply providing support." AG Rayfield says the state DOG will be interviewing witnesses. They'll be reviewing videos and other evidence, and we'll be keeping track on that, let you know what they find. In Southeast Portland, Joe English, K2 News.
Yeah, what kind of assistance, what kind of support? That's one of the questions that we're going to continue to ask PPB today, because we really don't know what that means. Joe, thank you. K2's team coverage continues now. Daryl Burke is live at the ICE facility where Portland police made a number of arrests yesterday where protests broke out. I know there was a pretty big crowd out there last night, and it seemed like tensions were escalating. Daryl, what are you seeing out there today?
Yeah, Angelica, as of this morning, no big crowds at all. Not a single protester out here. We're in front of the ICE facility here in South Portland. And as you can see, there are no demonstrators, at least that we can see. So things are quiet right now. But at least at one point last night, that was not the case, because as of this morning, we're learning that PPB did arrest 6 people last night, all of who were booked into the Multnomah County Detention Center, facing charges ranging from disorderly conduct and rioting, according to the Bureau. Now, we want to show you this video right here. This is how protests have usually started, very similarly to what we've been monitoring in recent months, with protesters forming a conga line at one point, but things later turned tense. PPB says they were trying to get protesters to move to the sidewalk as vehicles came through this area. At around 9 p.m., officers say they repeatedly asked one group to move before arresting 5 of them. And shortly after, at around 11:30, PPB made a 6th arrest for disorderly conduct. We spoke to demonstrators who tell K2 the shooting only motivates more protesters to come out and make their voices heard.
We're here to protest what's right. I mean, we love our people. We're obviously brown, and what's going on in the world just isn't right with us. So we're out here to show out. We're out here to show our voice.
To date, PPB says they've made a total of 79 arrests related to protest activity at the ICE facility. As we've covered extensively, dating back to last summer, a lot of these protests really picked up at when the Trump administration started its immigration enforcement crackdown, and further escalated as President Trump tried to deploy National Guard troops to Portland. And as the sun comes up today and as we move into the weekend, we're expecting protests to pick up once again. So we'll be out here monitoring it every step of the way. Live in South Portland, Daryl Burke, K2 News.
And things change based on how the president responds and what we hear from his administration. Kristi Noem, I know it kind of gets things riled up there. So fingers crossed things stay peaceful and no one gets hurt there over the weekend. Daryl, thank you. K2's Wesley Ogle is at the live desk with more information about one of those protesters who was arrested. What are you seeing, Wes?
Yeah, so one of the people arrested last night is 24-year-old Seth Todd of Clackamas. You probably don't know his name, but you know what he looks like. He's the guy known as the Portland Frog. He, of course, went viral in early October. He became a symbol of nonviolent resistance. Willamette Week, that's what this is from, actually named him Portlander of the Year. Now, his charges from last night are second-degree disorderly conduct and interfering with a peace officer. And back to you.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people dressed as him at my front door on Halloween this year. Even little kids dressed as the Frog. He's a big deal. All right, Wes, thank you. K2 will continue to track this shooting involving a federal agent all morning long.
Go figure. Not surprised. If people were not recording these incidents, they would lie, and they have lied, and they would keep lying. Might even get away with it had there not been video. Now, let's talk about Renee Nicole Good. Renee was shot and killed by ICE in Minnesota on the 7th. And from the very first press conference, they tried to smear her, calling her a domestic terrorist and baseless accusations that were not true. Kristi Noem, I call her Krusty Noem, but Kristi Noem stood in front of cameras and called her a terrorist before a full investigation, before accountability, before the family even had time to grieve, before they had even pulled her out of the car. Watch this clip.
I had just been in Minneapolis and had been with those officers, had seen what they were facing on the streets every day, and had talked to their supervisors as soon as the incident happened and had gotten the facts and seen videos before I ever went to talk at that press conference. And the Trump administration and President Trump is the most transparent and open government that we've ever had. Give the public the information, give them what they need to know about a situation so they can have the truth as soon as possible. If you look at what the definition of domestic terrorism is, it completely fits the situation on the ground. This individual, as you saw in the video that we released just 48 hours after this incident, showed that this officer was hit by her vehicle, she weaponized it, and he defended his life and those colleagues around him and the public. What we do know is that this was clearly a law enforcement action where the officer acted on his training and defended himself and his life and his fellow colleagues. It's a tragedy that this family has lost a loved one and that our country is dealing with the situation.
That is disgusting. That is cruel. That is state-sanctioned character assassination. And now, just one day later, more people are shot again by federal agents. This is a pattern. This is escalation. This is impunity. Watch this clip.
An ICE officer shot and killed an unarmed woman. Yet DOJ says there's no basis for a criminal investigation. I disagree. As a former SDNY Criminal Division Deputy Chief, I used to decide whether to open criminal investigations. I'm going to break down Renee Nicole Good's shooting by reviewing the video, the law, and the 5 key questions prosecutors should be asking. DOJ's refusal to investigate is an injustice, and who DOJ is investigating will shock you. Question 1. Did the ICE officer have any legal basis to order Renee Nicole Good to get out of her car? ICE can't stop people just because they feel like it. Under federal law, ICE officers need reasonable suspicion based on specific facts that someone is either committing a federal crime or is in the country illegally. Only then can an ICE officer briefly stop a person for questioning. Now, we know Renee Nicole Good was a U.S. citizen, so ask yourself, was there a crime being committed here? Let's watch this video from the New York Times.
Here's how events unfolded. Moments before the shooting, the victim's maroon SUV is stopped in the middle of the street. Multiple unmarked federal vehicles are idling nearby. Secretary Noem alleged the motorist, quote, was blocking the officers in. Bystanders are blowing whistles and yelling at federal agents. Then, federal vehicles start moving toward the maroon SUV, with sirens and lights blaring. A federal agent films the scene on his phone. The driver rolls forward slightly, turning left, then stops and waves for others to go ahead.
DHS Secretary Kristi Noem said Good was blocking traffic, specifically ICE officers. But that's not what the video shows. The video shows Good's SUV stopped in the middle of the street. Then she moved her car so cars could pass her. She waved another car through to pass her, and it did. Noem said Good was impeding or interfering with ICE officers conducting a law enforcement investigation. For that to be a crime, Good must have forcibly impeded or interfered with ICE officers. Forcibly means to inspire fear of pain, bodily harm, or death. This video doesn't show Good forcibly doing anything. Did she commit a traffic violation? Maybe. But ICE officers aren't traffic cops. They can't stop anyone for a traffic violation. Bottom line, there's no clear evidence from this video that Good was committing a crime. Therefore, there's reason to investigate what, if any, legal basis the ICE officer had to stop Good and order her out of the car.
Why this is dangerous. Let's be crystal clear. Federal officials do not have absolute immunity. ICE is not above the Constitution. Wearing a badge does not excuse killing people in murder. These agents hide behind masks, they hide behind federal authority, and they inflict trauma on communities that are already hurting. And let's talk about where this is happening. Minneapolis, the neighborhood where George Floyd was murdered just blocks away. There are videos circulating of ICE agents intentionally seeking out that neighborhood, a place that has already experienced historical trauma, unrest, and grief. Watch this clip.
Details about what the Minneapolis Fire Department saw and faced when responding to the ICE shooting last week that killed Renee Good.
The newly released documents come after one of the violent clashes sent an infant to the hospital. ABC's Olivia Rubin has the latest.
I can't breathe. Despite calls from local leaders for peace and to turn down the temperature, clashes between protesters and federal officers not letting up in Minnesota. Federal agents deploying tear gas on crowds, urging them to leave.
Stay off federal property or you will be arrested.
In one distressing scene, a baby hospitalized after a family's car was hit with tear gas, according to the Minneapolis Office of Community Safety. The agency saying the 6-month-old had difficulty breathing.
The ICE agents came forward and they were lined up with their mace.
The Jackson family says they were driving home from their son's basketball game. The gas grenades setting off the airbags in the car, trapping them inside. Bystanders opening the doors. That's when the family says the baby wasn't breathing.
Having to get my baby mouth to mouth and people pouring milk all over my other kids. I thought I was dying, honestly. And the way I felt, I could imagine how my kids felt because I'm a full-blown grown adult, so I just knew that it was even worse for them.
We've reached out to DHS for comment on the incident. Tensions flaring since the killing last week of Renee Good. Good was found, quote, unresponsive, not breathing, according to a Minneapolis Fire Department report. That report saying her injuries included 2 apparent gunshot wounds to the right chest, 1 apparent shot to the left forearm, and 1 possible gunshot wound to the left side of the head. The report saying officials moved Good away from the vehicle to get away from the escalating scene involving law enforcement and bystanders.
And now an attorney for the Good family has sent a letter to the federal government telling them to preserve evidence here, in part, they say, to ensure that that evidence is not destroyed. Olivia Rubin, ABC News, New York.
That is not accidental provocation. They are pouring fuel on the fire by design. Why, you ask? Because chaos benefits authoritarian power. Because unrest gives them cover to invoke the Insurrection Act. And because fear makes people easier to control. In fact, there's even a video going around that days afterwards, an ICE officer was intimidating a woman saying, "Haven't you guys learned your lesson?" As if threatening her like she could be next. Watch this clip.
This video shows a confrontation between an ICE agent and a driver in Shakopee on Sunday after the agent accused the driver of following officers. Listen carefully. Also on Sunday, another driver, this one in Minneapolis, got into it with another ICE agent. That agent accused the driver of getting in the way.
This is your warning.
For what?
Stop following us. You are impeding operations. This is the United States federal government.
I live over here. I got to get to my house.
This is your warning. I guarantee you're not going to like the outcome. Go home to your children. It's Sunday.
Yeah, go. Exactly. Let people go to church.
You did not learn from what just happened? Go home to your kids.
And on Friday in St. Louis Park, a driver who claims to have stopped after seeing a crash between an ICE vehicle and a car in front of her also clashed with an agent. He asked her if she's learned anything, an apparent reference to Renee Good's killing.
Shame on you.
Listen, have y'all not learned from the past couple of days? Have you not learned?
Learned what? What's our lesson here? What do you want us to learn?
Following federal agents.
Give me my phone back.
They're psychopaths with emotionally fragile personalities. Watch this clip.
Overnight, violent crashes between federal agents and protesters in Minneapolis after a federal agent shot a man during an immigration operation. According to the Department of Homeland Security, a federal law enforcement officer shot a Venezuelan man who they say fled a traffic stop and then attacked the officer. adding that the officer fired to defend his life, hitting the man in the leg. The department also saying 2 other people assaulted the officer with a snow shovel and broom. The injured man is in custody. He and the officer were taken to the hospital. The scene quickly descending into chaos. Smoke and flashbangs filling the night sky. Agents deploying chemical irritants as demonstrators sent fireworks in their direction. ABC affiliate KSTP was on the ground as crowds gathered around the city.
The smell of those chemical irritants is definitely in the air. You can see a group of ICE agents right now. It looks like they have at least one person in custody.
This is already a very tense situation, and we do not need this to escalate any further.
Officials calling for peace, acknowledging the city is on edge.
For those that are taking the bait, you are not helping. And you are not helping the undocumented immigrants in our city.
It comes 1 week after the fatal shooting of 37-year-old American citizen and mother Renee Good. The incident sparking protests, violent scenes playing out on a daily basis, agents firing pepper spray, dragging people from cars. This newly released video shows the frantic moments as heavily armed federal agents used a battering ram to enter an immigrant family's home in Minneapolis.
Can you put the guns down? There's kids in this house. There is kids in this house. Show the warrant first.
37-year-old Garrison Gibson, an immigrant from Liberia, was facing removal for a decade-old drug conviction, but his lawyer says he has been checking in with authorities for years.
So if he's this dangerous person, then why are they letting him walk around?
And once again, the mayor here in Minneapolis saying the situation here with thousands of federal agents here on the ground is simply unsustainable. He says his officers are working tirelessly, responding to this chaos instead of focusing on basic 911 calls. George.
And while all of this is happening, ask yourself, why are they doing this right now? While people can't afford groceries, while healthcare systems are collapsing, while Republicans are dismantling access to care, while Trump and his associates remain implicated in the Epstein scandal and have already violated the Epstein Transparency Act, while war crimes go unanswered, and while fishermen's vessels are being blown up overseas, this is a distraction, this is a diversion, this is cruelty as a policy. And make no mistake, if you are not a billionaire donor, this administration does not care whether you live or die. Call to action. So here is the call to action, and I need you to listen carefully. Please call your members of Congress, not tomorrow, today. Demand independent investigations into ICE and DHS shootings, an immediate halt to aggressive federal operations in residential neighborhoods, churches, and schools, accountability for agents who use lethal force, oversight hearings, public, transparent, and enforceable, and they should be always showing warrants for these arrests. Tell them clearly, Article 2, Section 4 exists for a reason. Abuse of power is impeachable. Inhumanity is not leadership. I do not trust Republicans to remove Trump, but we can force pressure. We can block the worst of these policies, and we can expose what is happening. And when we take back the House, and hopefully the Senate as well, and I believe we will, when we take back the Senate, and I believe we can, they must all be held accountable. No more masks, no more lies, no more state violence without a consequence. This is not about left versus right. This is about human life. This is about dignity. This is about whether we allow a government to terrorize its own people. History is watching us, and silence is complicity. If you're watching this, please share this video with someone who needs to see it. Document everything, protect each other, and do not let them gaslight you into believing what you saw didn't happen. Because it did. And we will not forget. As we conclude today's discussion, remember that knowledge is power. Please share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and let's empower each other to create positive change. Don't forget to please subscribe to my podcast channel if you haven't already. Like this video, and once again, share it on your platforms to support our mission of promoting fact-based information. Thank you for watching till the end. Leave some comments below. Let me know what you think about all this chaos and murder, fascist, police, Gestapo. And as always, be kind to yourselves and be kind to others. Thank you.